So what are we talking about tonight, boss?
Hello and welcome to Messages and Methods. I am your host, Shelley Carney.
And I'm Shelley's co-host, Toby Younis. It's good to be back from vacation. Nice to see you guys again.
Yeah. So tonight we're talking about LivecastLife, our new upcoming book, and how we are creating it and how you can follow in our footsteps and create your own book the same way.
That's you. See that little music? Right? That's you following in our footsteps to create your own book.
Wait, isn't there a little video that we play? The hello video?
So I've been away for 2 weeks. I don't remember any of this.
The intro thing?
If you are in your 50s or older, we've got something wonderful to share with you. Do you want to produce a live stream, podcast, and blog to quickly expand your brand and business? Or would you like to visit with us, tell us your story and share your message with the world? Experience Messages and Methods live stream podcast with Shelley Carney and Toby Younis. Every week we come together to discuss topics related to encore entrepreneurs, content marketing, live streaming video, podcasting, and blogging. We share stories, experiences, and knowledge to help others in their journey to creating a highly visible online presence. Subscribe today and become a part of our treasured community.
There we go.
There we go. Much better.
Got that figured out. So,
Well, listen, I've been on vacation for 2 weeks. I'm just getting the spider webs, the cobwebs out of my head.
uh-huh.
I mean, this has been really hard recovering
Would
from.
you think they'd have blown away when you were on the plane ride?
Yeah, good point. Well, I didn't stick my head out the window.
Oh, well, that's
All right.
a problem.
So tell the people what we're going to tell the people.
Well, tonight we're talking about, again, our new book, LivecastLife. It is a book we are creating, and you are there while we are creating it. So if you have things you want to add or
I do.
contribute or
So
talk about?
here's the deal. We have a process that we consistently recommend to our clients, right? You start with live streaming content and transform that into a broad variety of other products, online assets, and other products that enable you to expand your social media presence. And so we thought, rather than just talking about it and teaching our clients how to do it, we're going to do the same thing. So I'm going to do this over here first. Over the next 11 episodes on this channel, we're going to talk about what we do, what we teach, and along with that comes all our expertise in those areas. So every episode is going to be one chapter in a video series, a live streaming series on what we teach our clients. But we'll be talking about everything from how to start your branding all the way through creating your first live stream podcast, blog post to the end where you're setting up your email marketing campaigns. And more importantly, as I said, why we'll be talking about it is because we want you to see how what we recommend to you to do works. Because this is all, after 11 episodes, all that information, all that streaming content, which will be turned into podcasts and blog posts, is also going to be transformed into a chapters. Each episode is going to be transformed into a chapter in a book. And then that book will be published on Amazon, and it will be made available to people like you who have an interest in perhaps developing their own series. Now, the big question is, why would anybody want to do this? And there's a variety of reasons. But the two most important reasons are A, you want to build a business, or B, you want to leave a legacy. And we have two good examples of that in something like our channel here, which is about messages and methods, which is about building a business, or a channel like my World Sand Project, which is not about building a business, but it's about leaving a legacy and using content as a basis to leave that legacy behind. So if you have any ideas about building an online business, or leaving a legacy behind, just follow along on each of these episodes. And if you don't get it in the episodes, then listen to the podcasts. And if you don't get it on the podcast, read the blog post. And if finally you want a textbook to help you walk through it, eventually what we're doing here is going to end up in a book on Amazon. Now, our expectation is that we have 11 weeks ahead of us. So that means a little over 2 months. Let's call it 2.5 months. And then about a half month, maybe a month worth of converting all of this content into a book and then uploading it to Amazon. So we're expecting that this book will be available by the holidays, much sooner than the holidays, but at a minimum, at the latest, by the holidays. So you can actually give yourself a Christmas gift of our book.
So I'm going to address why we'll be talking about it, or why do we do this? What is the reason that we started talking about this particular topic? And that is because we want to offer a voice to people who would like to claim a place on the internet. And a lot of those voices are people, our age group, retirement years, who they want to share their knowledge. They want to share their message. They want to share something that they've learned and their experience and their expertise with the world, but they don't quite understand the technology. They don't quite have all the pieces together yet. That's where we come in, and we help those people to just understand and master the technology necessary so that they too can have a place on the internet to share their story. This is a mission for us, because we feel like we enjoy sharing our knowledge and our expertise and our stories with the world, and we want to make that available to other people as well. People like my parents, or people like our friends and our clients who just want to understand how to become part of the conversation. They don't want to be left out, and they just need that little bit of help to get to that next level so that they can be participating as well.
And what I'm about to say, I'm not saying to scare you. I'm saying from experience. If anybody tells you that all you have to do is take out your smartphone, point it in your direction, and that's the beginning of all these things, they haven't actually done that. Because I know from our experience, as well as others, that if you want to expand your social media presence, if you want to leave a legacy, if you want to influence people in a certain direction, or if you just want to build a business, it's not going to be done at the end of your arm in your smartphone. You're going to have to learn other things. Now, at the same time, I want you to know that these other things aren't impossibly difficult to learn. It takes a little bit of time. And if you go watch the next 11 episodes, you'll see a lot of what you need to know in order to be a success at this. Whether or not you become a client of ours, whether or not you buy the book afterwards, if you just stick through the next 11 episodes, you will learn everything you need to learn about doing all of those things: building a legacy, building a business, making an impact, becoming an influencer, expanding your social media presence. All of those are possible with what we're about to recommend over the next 11 episodes.
Next slide.
All right. So episode 1, and so for the next 11 slides, what I'm going to do is tell you what each episode is going to be about. I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail, but Shelley is going to have to pinch me, because she knows, and you guys know, that once I start talking, it's hard to get me to stop. But let me try and do it as quickly as possible, because I don't want to keep you here till 8 o'clock or for the next hour doing this. So episode 1 is what we call an introduction. And we feel like in that introduction, we want to explain the difference, and I'm going to have Shelley cover this a little bit more, the difference between what business coaches teach and what we teach. And this is a lesson I actually learned from Shelley, because Shelley has invested a lot of money and time in getting business coaches about building a business coaching business. And she's learned the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I'm going to have her share that with you. And then we're going to distinguish that from what we teach. We don't teach you. Well, I'm going to let Shelley say this, because she does it much better than I do. And then in episode 1, we're going to list out the technical obstacles that you're going to face. And we're not doing that to scare you. We're doing that to inform you, because all of those technical obstacles can be overcome with a little bit of time, a little bit of effort. And you don't have to spend days doing this if you spend an hour a night. We're finding out from our clients, for example, and you'll see in one of the upcoming chapters, that when you use your Gmail account, you use it, but you don't know all the possibilities and all the need to knows. And that's important, because your Gmail account becomes an interface between you and the rest of the world. And so we'll be teaching you those kinds of things. Shelley, do you want to address what business coaches teach? You have the experience on both sides, what business coaches teach versus what we teach.
Sure. So I have been immersing myself over the past, I'd say 4 or 5 years, in getting business coaching. I have business coaches. I've invested in business coaches, also life coaching, but business coaches all seem to teach the same thing to start off with. And it's kind of funny. I talked about this with my husband and with Toby, that when we were children in elementary school, every year we would go to our first math class, and the first 2 to 3 weeks, we talked about sets of numbers, sets of apples and oranges, sets, always, every year. And I always kind of wondered, why do we have to go through this again and again every year? Well, apparently it's because it's the foundation. And if you don't have it, then you don't have anything. And the business coaches I've seen all teach the same thing. They all start out with it. It's the foundation. But we're hoping that you have the foundation when you come to us. Now, the foundation would just be the whole, okay, who's your target audience? What's their biggest problem? How do you uniquely solve that problem? And those are the big 3 questions. And if you have those answered and you know where you're going with your business, you don't need that anymore. You need the other things. There's a lot of people who go through business coaching and they ask their coaches, well, should I use Streamyard, or should I use YouTube, or should I use Facebook, or what should I use? And their business coach will say, that doesn't matter. What matters is that you get the foundation down. Yeah, well, once they've got the foundation down, then that business coach doesn't know how to help them with the technology. That's where we come in. So we address all things technology in getting your online business out into the world. And that's what makes us different.
I'm going to use an example. I'm going to share an experience I had while I was recently traveling. Imagine this. You've been to a business coach. You've paid a lot of money for that business coach. You know a lot more about business. But the first thing that you find out is that there are technical obstacles, computer, internet, application, software obstacles that business coach is not going to teach you, not because they don't want to, but that's not their business. And although you know a great deal more about running a business, you may not know what technical tools you need in order to make that a success. That's the difference between what we teach and what they teach. So episode 2, we're going to focus on Gmail. And the reason we're doing that is we've had several clients. They don't struggle with it. They don't struggle. I mean, that's how we're communicating with them. That's how they're communicating with us. But we're starting to realize that they don't know everything about Gmail that they need to know that would be helpful. In addition to that, some of them don't have Gmail accounts. And that makes everything just a little bit more difficult, because if you take the path that we're going to recommend, eventually you're going to have a Gmail account, because you can't have a YouTube channel without a Gmail account. It doesn't work that way. So we're going to recommend that you get a Gmail account. If you don't already have one, then we're going to get serious about that. If you don't have a Gmail account, get one so that we can move forward with you. And then get comfy with your Gmail account. And we're going to run through that in that episode, what you need to know about your Gmail account that's going to be helpful, and why you should learn those things in order to use Gmail, because it becomes the interface between you and your tribe. That's how you're going to communicate with your tribe. You're going to give them that email address. It's going to be in all your branding, and they're going to access it. And so you need to know that when your tribe contacts you via Gmail, you need to know what to do with it. And the other thing too is that as you learn more and more of these applications, make them available. If you have a YouTube, a Streamyard, an Anchor FM, a WordPress, that's how they communicate with you. And so you need to be really good at Gmail, because it's the interface between the two sides of your business model, your tribe, and the people that are providing you the services necessary to grow that tribe.
The reason we love Gmail is, one, it's free. Two, it's Google, and Google is the largest search engine, and YouTube is a part of that. You also get, along with Google, you get a Google Drive. And with that Google Drive, you get all this extra space. You get a platform where you can do word processing, you can do slides, you can do Excel spreadsheets, you can do many, many different kinds of technical and business documents. And then you can share them with either clients or collaborators. It just makes everything so much easier to have it on Google in the cloud.
And, you know, we think it's so important that we're actually going to dedicate A, one of our episodes to it, and B, one of our chapters in the book to it. That's how important we think it is. And again, that's based on dealing with our clients. Because as we deal with them, we realize they could have used, they understand what it is, they open it regularly, mostly on their smartphone. But when you really have to use it to interface between your tribe and your service suppliers, it changes the model real quickly. Episode 3, the minimum live streaming setup. So what we're going to talk about is what you need in the way of internet, any hardware, any applications that you need just to get started, and then what to save for next. Now, we have the benefit of having a studio and having built a studio since we started live streaming. We started in 2014. We got serious about it in 2017. And so we've had the benefit of making those investments. But we have clients who have an internet service, and it may or may not be good enough, and a laptop. Generally, that's where they're starting. So we're going to show you what else you need to make yourself presentable on a live stream, and then what you need to save for in order to continue making improvements to your product.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's nothing new for us. We've talked about that in the
Right.
book before.
So the other thing, so episode 4 is building your branding assets. Now, as you look at our screen, you can see that there's a logo up here, there's a background over here, there's names, there's colors, there's music that we play at the beginning. Those are all your branding assets. And one of the things that we're going to explain in chapter 4 is how to build each of those assets that you need in order to maintain your the consistency of how you present yourself. Let's say you are on platforms like YouTube and Facebook and Anchor FM and WordPress, as well as opportunities for other channels from Twitter to Instagram to TikTok to Twitch. You want to make sure that your branding is consistent. So we're going to go through in episode 4. We're going to show you how to create your business name and your presence name and tagline, the colors, how to select the colors and how to encode them so that you can present them to someone. So for example, we use consultants on Fiverr to build our intros and outros. And when we ask them to build those intros and outros, we pick them, we select the ones we want, and then we give them our avatar, our logo, and we give them our colors, and we give them music that we've already selected so that they're consistent for this particular, for the M&M brand. You're going to know how to select fonts, how to select images and where they go, what you need in terms of images. We're going to teach you about Snappa, which is a product that we use for building all our graphics. But in order to use Snappa, you have to have those images, that avatar, etc. Music, it may not sound important now, but every once in a while you're going to need music, not only to open your show, for example, but on that 20-second outro that we build for ourselves, you'll hear the same music that we start the show with. So that music belongs to us, and you want to have a piece that represents you and what you do, and that belongs to you. And then the intros and outros. So there's a couple of kinds of intros and outros. First of all, for some of our other shows, since they go directly into podcast, we have a podcast. We have the podcast intro, then we have the episode intro, then we have our YouTube intro, and when you go out, we have our podcast outro, our channel outro, and then what they call the YouTube end card. So those are things that you want to build. Now, a lot of times, and although I'm very good at graphics, it's just not worth it for me to spend the time building each one of those. So I go to Fiverr, and I can give you a recent example where I had an intro and an outro built. The intro cost me $15. The outro, or the end card cost me $30. Now you'd say to yourself, man, that's $30. Where am I going to get that? That's $30 that saved me 3 to 4 hours worth of sitting in front of a computer building it myself. And I still wouldn't have built it as well as they do, because it would require me not only knowing a video editor, but then I'd have to go to other Adobe products as well in order to make it look as good. So I give them an order, give them the colors, give them the music, give them the fonts, give them the avatar, pay them $30, and they basically say it'll be ready in 24 hours. So, and maybe I can show examples of that when we're closer to the end of the show. Anything else? Am I missing anything?
Well, just it's kind of helpful if you have in mind what it is that your business is all about, what kinds of images represent your business best, so that you can figure out, okay, what kind of an image do I want in my branding, that people will look at it and immediately get that they are my target audience and that this product is for them, and how it fits into their lives. What image can I use? So having all of this in mind or ready to go when you start to build your branding assets is very helpful.
Yeah.
Knowing who is your target audience. Again, this is all foundational business coach stuff. Who's your target audience? What's their problem, and how do you solve their problem? When you know all of that, then you can kind of translate that into images, and that's what goes into your branding.
Okay, next slide. So episode 5, YouTube and Facebook Live. Now, there are other live streaming platforms, but there are none better organized, more proficient, and understand you more than YouTube and Facebook Live, YouTube live streaming and Facebook Live. There are other platforms, and you're welcome to try them out. Twitter is now making that available to you. TikTok is now has a live feature. Instagram has a feature. But if you're going to make an impact and you want your content to look and sound as good as possible, you have to know YouTube and Facebook Live, and you want to be able to stream to them simultaneously. So we'll explain how to do that in just a minute. So when you have to go to live stream, this is where you want to go first: YouTube and Facebook, YouTube live streaming and Facebook Live. So there are other platforms out there. They'll continue to evolve. Amazon, for example, just announced live streaming on their platform. Now they have a very limited number of people that they're enabling to do that. LinkedIn has live streaming, but again, they're allowing a very limited number of people to do that. So your best bet is YouTube and Facebook, and it's free. YouTube and Facebook do not charge you for live streaming. As a matter of fact, YouTube, after you get 1,000 subscribers and you get enough views, you can start advertising and you can earn revenue from YouTube. Now, you're not going to be a millionaire overnight, but you can make enough money to make it worthwhile. So that's another opportunity. So YouTube and Facebook Live are your friends, no matter how you feel about them now. In addition, YouTube has the benefit of being the second largest search engine after Google. So, a lot of people come to YouTube. I used to have a number that I'd quote about how many minutes of YouTube video is uploaded every day, and how many views and how many download or watches they get. And I quit following it just because it got like those McDonald hamburger signs. 69 trillion have been made and sold or something. It's a big number in order to make it the second largest search engine in the world. Then once you have a live stream, did I miss anything? Do I need to go back there?
No.
Okay. Then once you have your live stream and it is on YouTube, you'll be able to transition that very easily because you'll be able to download the audio. You'll upload it to Anchor FM for podcast hosting and distribution. And then you'll be able to transcribe that and upload it to WordPress and make a blog post. Now, I'm going to let Shelley address the blogging app because that's her side of this. But when it comes to Anchor FM, the live stream that we're doing tonight, Restream.io saves the audio file in
YouTube.
Pardon me? What did I say?
You said Restream.
I'm sorry.
Streamyard.
Streamyard records not only the video file, but it records a separate audio file. So I can take that audio file, upload it to Anchor FM. Anchor FM will host that as a podcast, but even better with Anchor FM, it distributes that podcast to up to 10 different podcast hosts, including Apple and Google, which are the two biggest. Spotify is getting bigger, I think, now than Google. But Spotify last year bought Anchor FM. So that tells you a little bit about where they think this is going. And I think Shelley just told me that Amazon is starting their own podcast
Amazon
hosting.
Music has podcasts.
Has a podcasting hosting service.
Mm-hmm.
So podcasting, in my opinion, is not going away anytime soon just because of the number of people that are investing in it. Shelley, tell them a little bit about the WordPress model, both in just plain transcription and what you do to make our WordPress blogs so good looking.
Oh, well, okay. So WordPress.com is very simple to use. It's free. You can upgrade if you want, but it isn't necessary. So it's low entry level, real easy to get started with. And what it offers people is SEO, right? People find our blog because I put it on WordPress. Every day I open up my email and I have between 1 and 10 notifications from WordPress that somebody has liked or started to follow our blog because we put it on WordPress. I don't get that same sort of traction anywhere else. I put it up on LinkedIn, but I don't very often get much feedback on it there. WordPress. I put it up on Medium, and I don't get a lot of feedback from them either. But WordPress is the blogging app. People look on WordPress for blogs. They blog, they read other people's blogs. It is the place to be for creating your blog. And it brings you new eyes, right? People who don't normally watch your YouTube videos or know that you exist may find your blog, and then they'll see in the blog, oh, you can watch this on video at this link, or you can listen to the podcast at this link. So they get to see all of it at once.
Thanks. So episode 7, the other social media platforms. We're going to talk about what other platforms are available to you to help expand your social media presence. And they, after YouTube, Facebook, Anchor FM, and WordPress. And you probably could ask, why those? So, there's lots of choices out there. And the answer is we've been doing this for a really, really long time. And we've been through all the platforms that are available and possible. And we've selected these because these are the ones that make it the easiest to do what we're describing to you. There are other platforms, and we're going to tell you about those other platforms, how they can help you, and what you can do to use the content that you already have to be able to change that content enough so that they can use it. So you're not having to create content for each of those platforms. We don't even suggest that you do that. We suggest you start with the live stream that we're seeing, like we're seeing today, and then extend that into, project that into other platforms without having to create new content. So we don't deny there are other social media platforms out there. We do the ones that we think are the most helpful to our brand and our business model. And we're going to talk about those. And then you can make a choice about how much time you want to invest in projecting out to those particular platforms.
Yeah, and if you already have a following, say you have a big following on Instagram, well, you can take the pieces that you create on YouTube and Facebook, and you can make quote cards or use images and put stuff up on Instagram because you have a lot of followers there already. If you do, if you don't, then maybe your particular audience isn't on Instagram. Maybe they're on Pinterest, maybe they're on Facebook, maybe they're on LinkedIn. Wherever your audience hangs out, you can take and put your content. But to start off with, we recommend YouTube because, as Toby said, it is a large search engine and people look there first for information.
Episode 8. What about my live streaming app? Again, we've been through pretty much every possible variation of live streaming app, from the ones made available by the platforms like live streaming directly to YouTube, to those platforms that are specifically designed for live streaming, like Restream.io and to a lesser extent Zoom. But it took us a long time to get to where we are today, and that is with Streamyard. And in our opinion, at this point in time, today, there is nothing better for in terms of live streaming than Streamyard. We really believe that it is the best available product to go with. And if you want to, you can get it for free. Now you'll be limited. They have limitations in the number of hours and the number of concurrent streams that you can run. We have the professional version, which costs us $39 a month. If we bought it on an annual basis, and I haven't done that yet, but I will, it would be the equivalent of, what did I say, $24 a month, something like that.
I don't remember.
No, $280 a year. But in our experience, doing this since 2014, there is no better product at this point than Streamyard. And that's what we're going to teach and talk about, not only in episode 8, but in the course that you take with us. And the other thing that we like about it is it's so easy to learn. It's just amazingly, the user interface is amazingly friendly. And we like it a lot, as you can tell. I can talk about Streamyard all day long because I like it so much. We've tried the rest. There is nothing better. Episode 9, how your first live cast episode is going to go. Shelley is really good at explaining this, so I'm going to let her do it.
All right. Well, the different types of media that you see online include video, audio, text, and images. When you create your first live cast episode, you create all 4 of those. We also recommend, if you're going to be doing a somewhat visual presentation like we are today, you create slides. Then you have an additional piece of media, and you can use these pieces of media in many different ways. You can combine them, you can put them on different platforms, and it creates a saturation of your social media properties when you have all these different pieces of media to use. So yeah, you could do it all at once by making a live cast, right? Do your live stream video, you're creating the audio at the same time. You've got the video, the audio, the images, the text, and the slides. What more can I say?
Yeah. The only thing that you can say is what you said at the beginning. One piece of content is leveraged and projected into a broad variety of platforms. And that's a good use of your time, and it's a good use of the content. And the more the search engines see your name, see your content, people say, well, why would I project this to both Facebook and YouTube simultaneously? It's the same kind. The search engines are looking for presence. And if you are present on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, on WordPress, on Anchor FM, and then Anchor FM is distributing them to 10 other podcast hosts. Then what the search engines start looking at is, oh, these guys have a real presence in this particular market. So when somebody searches for live casting, guess who pops up? Actually,
Us.
Shelley more than me, which I think is danged interesting. But
Well, yeah, because
because
I do stuff.
Yeah, you do stuff.
Lots of blogging.
And then episode 10. So one of the things that we want to cover while we're doing all of this is the benefits of having an email list so that you can market from and to. And this isn't just Toby and Shelley's advice. This is what we've learned over the years, that you want to be able to build an email list. There are plenty of free platforms out there that enable you to do this, but you want to be able to reach your tribe as often as possible in a reasonable way. Some of you who are watching this right now know that every Wednesday, Shelley sends out our weekly email with information. You had the benefit of seeing my travels over the last 2 weeks as Shelley pulled all those photos and shared them with you. And but without an email list, all of this is for naught, because eventually you, in very subtle ways, are going to start marketing to that email list, even if it is just to remind them that you put up a new live stream, that you have a new podcast, that you have a new WordPress. And if it's all the same thing, you're going to tell them anyway, because each of your tribe members has a different way of consuming information. So you might find people like me who like watching the videos. You might find people like Shelley who enjoy listening to the podcast or reading the blog post. So it's different for a lot of people, and you want to give them as many options as they have in order to do that. And the email list is your tool, which enables you to communicate all of that to them.
I just noticed you close parentheses was a 0 instead of
Oh,
but as you can see, landing page is in lieu of a website. A lot of people who do a business online don't even have a website, and they can still be very successful because in lieu of a website, they have a landing page. Now, if you think about it, let's give you an example. I've been with the same financial advisor for the past 25, 30, maybe even longer, 30 years probably. 30 years we've been with this person. And how many times have I been to his website? I'm going to say once. And the only reason I went there was because we were interviewing him for one of our shows. We did business with this person and we never looked at his website. It wasn't important to us. And a lot of times people just don't even go to your website. They have no interest unless there's a really specific thing on that website that they want. For instance, a blog post they want to read, or a lead magnet, something free that they want to download. So why put a whole lot of work and effort and time into a website when all you really need is a landing page with that free offer that people are coming to look for anyway? So that's why we recommend the landing page lead magnet, which goes to your welcome onboarding sequence of emails, which then you go into a nurturing sequence of a weekly update.
and Shelley is really good at taking something, a conversation that we had, and turned it. One day we were talking about how to correctly interview. My experience, I used to teach a course in interviewing and how to conduct an interview. And we started talking about it. And I think we even did a show on it, how to correctly interview someone, whether it's for a podcast or for a live cast. And Shelley took that and turned it into a booklet on how to interview. That became a lead magnet with its own landing page that we had people sign up for, and it got us some new email addresses that we could use to further market to. People don't mind giving you their email address if they feel like they're getting something in return, and they're not having to buy it. So we can, Shelley and I can have a conversation. We can make an outline together, and then by the next day, she has a booklet. She has something that can easily turn into a lead magnet that we can give away. We don't feel like we have to sell it. And that's why we're offering you this opportunity. You can, for free, watch the next 11 episodes of our show, or when it's all done, you can buy the book, but you don't have to buy the book. you'll be able to learn everything you need to learn over the next 11 episodes of our program.
And episode 11. Da, da, da.
All right, you talk about his
Oh.
episode 11 so I can see what's happening here.
Episode 11 is just basically a wrap up of everything that we're teaching in 1 through 10. And then we'll move on to what's next. What do we see coming in the future, in the near future? What could be ahead for you in your future, and our recommendations that can help you get to your future vision.
Nice. So that's 11 episodes of information about what we teach our clients, and it's for free. So you don't have to sign up for the course. You can watch the next 11 episodes. And at the end of that, before the holidays, we'll have a book out on the same, a nicely written book. And you know we can write. We've already written one book that's done very well for us. So our friend Jim in Ohio says,
I watch just for the typos.
which is nice. Don Stevens is in. He says that it is nice to see us.
Yay.
So thanks, Don. It's nice to see you again. So I
That's right.
believe
We appreciate everybody who shows up live, because it makes us go, hey, somebody's out there
Somebody's
actually
out
paying
there.
attention to
Yeah.
what we're saying.
we do get
Woo!
views. I mean, but it's always nicer to have people in the room so that we can talk to.
So if you do have any questions on what you heard tonight, please put your questions in the comments and we'll be happy to answer those. Whether that's in tonight's chat or just in the comments after this video is posted.
So I'm going to play a little video, a little promotional video.
Thank you for joining us for the AGK Media Studio podcast with Shelley, Carney, and Toby Younis. Please subscribe, leave a great review, and comment with questions or ideas for future shows. Share our podcast with your family and friends and discover how you can become a creative campaign producer at agkmedia.studio or join our Facebook group, Leveraging Your Content. Check the show notes for links and resources, and please come back again next week.
So I have to share with you, that was that particular video, which is our ending video. We usually do it as an outro, was made with a product called Vidnami. And this product was so good that GoDaddy bought it, and it's incorporating it into its studio suite. But Vidnami basically closed down on August 20th. It had a great Facebook page. It had this great product. So we don't have access to it right now. And I already miss it. We lost access. They did the transition on the 20th of August, and we won't see it again until the end of the year in GoDaddy's product. And honestly, I'm missing it already. I've thought about every time. There are 10 times in the past 2 weeks that I've thought, oh, let me do a Vidnami video, and there's no more Vidnami. It makes me sad.
Comment.
Oh, let's see what we got. John Miller says, we're ready for a Friday night party again. I'll let Shelley address that, John.
I'm ready for a party too.
Pardon me?
I'm ready for a party.
We are
too.
going to have a party. Actually, Shelley and I are going to the Tamaya Resort on Friday night. What are we celebrating?
You're back.
Oh, I'm back. Yeah. I've been gone for a couple of weeks. I had a great time, as you probably saw by the pictures. I had a great time with my family. I hadn't seen them in a year and a half because of the pandemic, and we had 3 new grandbabies in that year that I had never even met. The others I had met, and they kind of remembered me. But I really felt like I needed to get out there. So traveled to Florida, South Carolina, and Alexandria, Virginia, and survived without getting any variation of the pandemic. I was cautious and just felt good about seeing the family.
And if you
again. So,
haven't seen those pictures yet, we do have them up on our blog.
yeah, where's our blog? WordPress.
AGK Media Studio, something like that.
Well, let me see. I'm going to open it here. So here, let me first of all, let me close this. And I'll open it here and share that with you.
WordPress. Love seeing your pictures. Okay, good. So he's already seen them. But if you haven't seen them,
Remember which one it is?
it's at WordPress. It's on WordPress.
It's on WordPress. Just
You
look
have
us
the
up on
blog-
WordPress.
Well, you didn't do the thing right.
Pardon me?
You didn't do the thing right.
I didn't do.
Blog.agkmedia.studio. You didn't do that, did you?
I don't think so, but let me see.
.studio. Try that.
Ooh.
That did work. Oh, yay.
All right.
Okay,
Yeah.
that works. Blog.agkmedia.studio.
Well, we can also take this and I'll put that in the chat room so you can go see the pictures there if you haven't already seen them.
agkmediastudio.wordpress.com.
Yeah,
See,
it's on
we just had it
WordPress, that's
backwards.
So
That's
there's there's the blog post with, look at that. I put that on Instagram and I
They can't
titled
see
it.
that.
Oh,
Gotta share.
gotta share.
There it is.
So that's it, agkmediastudio.wordpress.com. That was at the Latitudes restaurant in Boca Raton. And I posted this to my Instagram, and the tagline was "Not New Mexico." There's some, you saw these. This is our visitors. This is Brian Ulrich and his family, Samantha and Gina. And every time they come through New Mexico, they stop by and visit us. We go to Applebee's. That's my Boca Raton daughter and her family. And that's me and the infamous Everly English. Let me see if I get, if you can see all the family that I got to visit. That's my daughter, Ryan. She's in Charleston. And that's the Charleston grandbabies. And then let me just do the last one. That's my daughter, Toby Renee, and my new grandson. This is one of the ones that I hadn't met yet. My new grandson, Ragnar, who one day will be a great Viking warrior.
Apparently.
He's a cute little baby.
Yeah.
All right, so we did have a good time, but I'm glad to be back. I was glad to be back in New Mexico, and I'm glad to be back with you guys. And just watch over the next 11 episodes. It's going to be 11 really, really good and informative episodes, and it's going to result in our book. And the objective, one of the objectives, is to show you how you can create live casting comment and go through the process and eventually produce your own book with your own name on that title, on the title of that book.
As the author.
As the author.
Or you could make the book about you too.
Yeah.
If you want to call it after yourself. Name the book Toby Younis. Why not?
Name it after me. What the heck? Okay. Is that it, boss?
That's it for tonight. Thank you all for being here with us. And we do hope to see you again next week. What else?
Episode 1.
For episode 1, that's right. Keep an eye out for our blog. We've got more blogs coming. And if this is something that interests you, that you would like to have your own live cast, where you produce a live stream, a podcast, and a blog every week with very little effort, give us a call. And we'd love to talk to you about it.
Yep. You can become, wouldn't it be fun to become one of the clients of Toby and Shelley?
I think so.
Or better yet, wouldn't it be fun to become one of the clients of Shelley and Toby?